Good evening. Welcome to Instagators. I'm Gator.
And I'm Bull.
Welcome, Bull.
Welcome. Episode titled this as Hello World, since this is numero uno, broadcasting live.
So we don't have anyone in the bullpen,
You got
but we
me.
do have a very interesting topic.
Oh, yeah. We can. I thought it'd be interesting because you had told me a very small part of a greater story I'm interested in hearing about in terms of, I guess, how the lengths you've gone in a dating situation.
Yes, I've been pretty desperate in the dating scene. I guess the most desperate I've ever been was going 5,000 miles for a date.
Oh,
I did that, in fact, just last year.
It's quite a journey.
But it was worth it. Except I had a little accident along the way. I stopped by Santa Monica on the way to Maui, rented an e-scooter. Do we have a picture of an e-scooter?
We can get
An
one.
e-scooter. They were all the rage.
What is it? The Bird ones? Do you know? That's like the big company.
Yeah, mine happened to be Lime, but Bird is a major competitor.
We'll do Lime.
Lime happens to be lime green. They don't have very good brakes on them. That was the problem. I went downhill. My friend was on his bicycle. He took a sharp right, and I T-boned him. We both ended up with damage in our lower extremities.
Wow, you got hit by your
couldn't
friend?
walk. I literally ran into an old friend. I'm the one that did the hitting.
That's funny. I didn't know it was a friend. You made it seem like some careless driver hit you. I didn't know it was a friend.
Well, that's what I called him. Of course, he says it was my fault. I say it was his fault. It's typical accident. Typical California accident scenario.
Does this look like
The
it?
other person's fault, yes. That is the lime. There are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of limes and their competitors, which chiefly is Bird, and now I understand they have a third competitor. So anyway,
How bad did you get hurt from a bike hitting you, though? I thought it was a car accident. That's funny.
no. Well, you have no protection in a lime scooter. That's the big deal. If we were all in cars, it may have just been a fender bender. So I had a flight to Hawaii the next morning. And I flew and I flew and I flew.
Wait, how bad was this accident, though?
I was able to scrape myself back together.
Did you say you went to the hospital, though?
Well, they called an ambulance for me in Santa Monica, and then I kind of waved it away. And then I eventually went to the emergency room in Hawaii, but that was a few days later.
See, people are sue heavy these days. I'm surprised. You never know.
Yeah, I should have sued. The brakes should have worked better, but you know me. I'm just easy.
Well, you should have sued Lime. That's where the money's at.
Yeah,
not your friend.
Well, yeah, because he said it was my fault.
He should have blamed it on the Lime. Said the brakes were faulty.
Yeah.
That's a payday right there.
Yeah, well, he was on his bicycle.
That's
I
an
was on a
upgraded
Lime.
studio right there.
Yep, there you go.
Is
right?
the statute of limitations or whatever up on that?
Just happened a few months ago.
I guess broadcasting live probably isn't a smart idea. We'll talk after.
I don't know. I think you should tell your entire lawsuit to the public before you ever talk to an attorney about it. Isn't that their advice?
Yeah, so you can
Discuss
work
it
out.
widely. Disclose all the facts
Right.
so the other side knows everything.
Get all the bad ideas out first.
So anyway, I fly to Hawaii the next morning,
Okay.
and I'm in my wheelchair at this point, and the attendant at the Honolulu airport, it's named after that senator, Senator Imwe, I think. That's the airport. She wheels me out, and then my ride approaches. Her name was Cynthia.
It's not a very Hawaiian name.
I know, especially since she's from Lubbock.
Oh, okay.
So you know how you can hear the power door locks click open when somebody's going to let you in their car? Well, I never heard that sound. The power door locks never rose. And she's looking at me. And she said, "Well, you never told me you were in a wheelchair." I go, "Oh, did I neglect to say that to you?" She said, "Well, yes." And I said, Well, does it make any difference? It does make a difference to some people.
Yeah, that's a good test, actually.
So eventually I stood up from the wheelchair and walked the 10 feet over to her car.
It's a miracle.
And she said, "Oh, you can walk." And I said, "Well, yeah, if I try real hard." And she said, "Okay." Then she popped the power door locks. I got in.
I mean, I can understand that because that's pretty false advertising if someone's visiting you from afar and you think they're not in a wheelchair. I would probably be pretty annoyed too. It's okay if they're already in a wheelchair, but I can see why. That's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, she was quite annoyed.
Same if like your face was half burnt off. I'd be like, all right, that's misleading.
I don't think she would have unlocked the doors to her car if I didn't walk over to the car.
Wow. Well, that's pretty rude though.
Oh, and you asking me what she does for a living?
I didn't, but okay.
Yeah, well, she's a counselor at the Marine Corps base in Pearl Harbor. So she's there for sympathy for people.
Right, but not civilians.
Well, no, you can't be in a wheelchair. She has no sympathy for people in wheelchairs. No.
That's a little too much sympathy.
I tried to tell her I was a big wheel because, the rear wheels in those wheelchairs are extra big, but she didn't fall for that either. She said I should be a no wheel.
Dang.
She's hard.
That's a typical Gator move. Put in jokes where it's not the right time for it.
Yeah, it's called inappropriateness.
Yeah.
That's another N word.
There you go.
Earlier, we're thinking of N words. Inappropriate. Yeah, that describes Gatorism.
Yeah. I guess we should describe because a lot of times the instigators will be having guests on and we'll be trying to instigate stories out of them that might not necessarily be the best idea for them to tell or wouldn't normally tell. But for the first one, it's not the inaugural. What's it called? What's it called?
Opening show.
Our opening show. We thought it'd be best to have the two regulars do it, get a feel for it, try the live stream.
The Instigators. For I will never say instigatee.
How dare you?
Because that is not a proper word.
I don't like instigators as a play on word. Gator wants to call the people we interview instigatees.
We could call them victims.
I prefer that. At least that's a word.
At least we're being honest.
Instigatees to me, it's like that's not really a play on words, but you'll probably end up saying it anyway, so it's fine.
So that was my longest date. What was your longest date, or what seemed like the longest date?
Hey, you're the host here. I don't know.
I've
have to think about it.
I've had one evening's worth of dates, and that seemed like the longest date.
Well, how'd that go? This is a big cliffhanger. What happened?
Well, we're madly in love. We've got this little geographical problem called 5,000 miles each way. But aside from that, everything's perfect.
Was it distance makes the heart grow fonder? Is that the saying?
I do believe you do have a point there, Bull.
Is that applicable at all? Or
I don't know. What's the longest you've ever gone for a heifer?
Not far at all. Not out of the state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not a nomad. I'm very stationary.
So you're more not like a longhorn, more like a shorthorn.
Sure, if that's applicable, I don't know.
Or it could be inapplicable.
Yeah,
that's another word I
have
made
no
up.
horns.
Inapplicable goes with Gatorese.
Yeah, but I want to know. Okay, what happened though? You met up. She's obviously off on the wrong foot.
Well, I was on no feet when we first met.
Nice. And then you put up the wheelchair. I'm assuming you did the wheelchair because of the accident.
Well, she had a little smart car, and she said, well, where am I going to put this wheelchair? And it's one of those welded wheelchairs. They don't fold up because it belongs to the airport. And I said, I don't think this guy here was going to let you put it in your car. And he said, and she said, it's not your wheelchair? And I said, no, I've never been in a wheelchair since yesterday. And it was literally 24 hours ago when the accident happened. And this was the first time I was ever in a wheelchair in my life. And their wheelchairs are actually pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
I love them now. You know those security lines at the airport? You don't have to bother with that. They bring you right to the head of the line. Wheelchairs rule. So you go to the head of the line. They wheel you right in. Of course, you're first on the plane. If you don't already have a window seat, you can take a window seat. Who's going to kick somebody in a wheelchair out of a window seat?
Yeah.
That's the only way I travel now.
It's the ultimate trump
Yeah,
card.
whether I have an accident or not.
Well,
Wheelchairs rule.
People were onto this way sooner than you are because it's a stereotype of like the fat American that is always in the the mobile. You know, I'm talking about
No, I have no idea, bro.
the electric wheelchairs. You know that everybody uses.
Oh, I wish I had an electric wheelchair. That'd be so much fun.
Like people who don't need them just use them. Like at you know, like I used to work at a grocery store, and you know, people would come in all the time, and they'd be taken up for the people who actually need it because just morbidly obese people or people just didn't feel like walking would use them.
Or you can have races. That's always fun too.
Yeah.
We would take them out to the parking lot and have parking lot races.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was hard for those Walmart people to catch up with you because they weren't on scooters.
Right.
You know, they're like pushing the shopping carts around and all that stuff. It's hard to chase when you're pushing a shopping cart.
Those things are heavy too. Have you ever been like had your foot run over?
I've tried to steal a few, and I hurt my back. Trying to lift it up over the lid, and getting it in the trunk. You know, but I figured I could sell it on Craigslist. You know,
That's so crazy to me though, because now that I'm hearing the story, it really does sound like. I mean, it's not the best first impression if this lady doesn't think you're in a wheelchair, but it sounds like she's pretty rude about it.
Yeah, well, it pretty much was the last impression for her.
And did you guys hang out at all after this?
Yeah, actually, I spent the next 2 weeks with her.
Holy
we
moly.
spent a week in Oahu because she had to work that week, and then she got a week off, and we went to Maui.
So you were able to rectify the initial.
Yes, I asked for a wheelchair when I got to the Oahu airport, and we flew over to Maui. Interesting state, 8 different islands. Every place you go, you pretty much fly, unless you got one of those amphibious cars. And
Or wheelchair.
my wheelchair didn't float though.
Right.
I need a flotilla wheelchair. Yeah, that's the ticket.
How bad were the injuries? Did you actually need a wheelchair?
I should show you the pictures.
Dang, I wish we had those.
Well, we
Are
do.
they on your computer?
Yeah,
What would they be under?
iTunes pictures.
Okay. Keep the conversation going while I do
Okay,
some
well, here it is. Bull is looking up iTunes pictures now.
iCloud
and
photos.
It will be the pictures from October 2018.
Wow, that is recent.
Yep. Oh, it's so exciting watching you flip through.
Dead air, dead air, dead air. I'm freaking out, man.
Live air. Oh, wow. So anyway, I was in her experimental program. She needed another subject.
What's the program?
You lay in your back, close your eyes, and there's a bunch of lights go around in front of you, and they take measurements before and after and compare the two. It was her doctoral dissertation.
Measurements
that was
of what?
part of it. Your reaction.
Like your brainwaves?
Yeah, she puts these tabs on your skull and measure your brainwaves.
And what'd she find out? There was no activity? Ba-dum-tsh.
Well, us gators do have brains the size of walnuts.
True. So we just had a little brief intermission. Next time I should just pause it, but I didn't want to record it. Gator runs a car dealership out of here, so occasionally customers are going to come by. So a little brief intermission, but in that time period, I was able to get the pictures we were talking about. Let's go back. What do you remember the last thing you were talking about in terms of?
Yeah, it's the e-scooters fate.
Well, yeah.
The Lime people who should be filing for bankruptcy as we speak.
They probably are. There's so many problems. I've been seeing a bunch of articles.
Yeah, I've seen lots of x-rays, not only my own, but x-rays of damage that have been done to people. There's no protection. They're even more dangerous than a motorcycle, and a motorcycle is pretty dangerous.
Right.
But at least a motorcycle has wheel diameter. These wheels are so small in diameter, a pothole or running over a stone can wipe somebody out.
How fast did they get up to?
Well, I was going downhill. So, I don't know. Dano said I was going 20 when I hit him. I think that's fast, though. I think I was going slower.
That's really fast on a scooter hitting somebody.
Well, of course, he's crawling on the ground afterwards, I guess, from his perspective.
What happened to him?
It did feel like I ran into his right side leg. I T-boned him.
And whose fault was it?
Well, it was
Be
his
honest.
fault because he made a sharp right without looking. And I said, well, I'm right there with you. And he said, well, I can go faster than your scooter. I didn't think you'd be anywhere near me. Well, it's called gravity. We're both going downhill. I was able to keep up with him.
Were you guys arguing while you're bleeding?
No, we've been friends for 30 years. He's one of my best friends.
Oh, wow.
Well, he used to be. Now I guess he hates my guts.
Because of that incident?
Yeah, I bled all over his condo and.
You're joking there, right?
No, there wasn't any bleeding. There was a lot of black and blue and orange.
I saw that.
And reds and purples.
Did you get your eye?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I counted it up once. In fact, I counted it up on video. There was 18 different wounds. And that's counting like the wounds on my hand, A, B, and C.
I wonder
So if you count an individual, the count's even higher. But 18 wounds is kind of enough, especially when they have letters going with each wound.
Yeah,
each number.
That was
Yeah, it was a
pretty
bore.
serious. Did you have like adrenaline pumping, like in a car accident situation? Where you're like, oh shit.
I'm thinking going to Hawaii the next morning. That's what I really thought about. And I'm going, oh, God, am I going to be able to get on this plane? Because, well, the parking lot attendant, and this is Venice Beach we're talking about, and she called an ambulance when she saw what was going on.
So she must have thought it was bad enough for her first reaction was to call
Either
you.
that or she was bored, taking people's parking money, and she wanted to see some flashing lights. I don't know.
Or she's like,
No, she was a nice lady. She did care. And then I had another guy come up. And, they have this thing called marijuana there that's legal.
what is that?
He said, smoke a joint. I got a name of a good lawyer. You can call him. He can make anything look like a bad accident. I should have taken him up on it.
What did the joint have to do with it?
That's what he said to do. Well, he saw the whole thing. I mean, we're laying on the ground. He suggested we smoke a joint.
And then sue? Usually
Yeah.
those things don't go
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. Well, it's legal.
Right. Well, normally if you smoke a joint, I feel like your reaction would be like, oh, that's all good.
Well, this is after the accident, not before.
Well, I'm saying in terms of a lawsuit,
Yeah. Yeah.
usually
Yeah. Reckon so.
you have so many pictures on your iCloud that it's taking like 10 minutes just to sort them.
Wow.
I like how like 90% of the pictures too, are you just like taking like a half blurry picture out of like a car window?
And it's a convertible, too.
Oh, was it?
Well, it's half blurry through the car window of the convertible.
Ah, okay. So you went all out.
You got to work with me on this, Bull.
What?
Work with me on these lines. It's a convertible. Why would you take a picture through a car window in a convertible if the top's down?
How long did you talk with this woman before deciding you were going to meet in Hawaii?
Actually, about a year and a half.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, we started emailing.
Oh, now I understand.
Yeah, I met her on the internet, of course.
Right. Now
I met her on vegetariandating.com.
Ugh.
She's one of them. Where does she get her protein from?
Oh, is that a sexual innuendo joke?
Well, it wasn't, but now that I think about it, I'm quite offended.
I thought you were vegan though.
Yeah, I am.
But you'll mingle with the vegetarians? They're not beneath you?
Well, actually, she's a vegan. But the name of the dating site is vegetarian.com.
You don't
They don't
at them-
have a vegan.com one.
You don't call them like lesser beings since they're not fully
Because they're partial carnivores.
right.
Yes.
Those vegans are those elitist types. They have a bad rap. And I get the running joke is, how do you know someone's vegan? They tell you about it in like the first time you meet, which we're doing our first podcast and we already know you're vegan. But that wasn't your fault.
Oh, did I let that slip?
The fact that there's vegetarian dating sites, though, that is news to me. I'm going to look that up. What's the name of the website?
Vegetariandating.com.
Have you ever tried Christian Mingle?
I don't think it's the same. Although, I heard those Catholics, they do the wine, they do the wafers. You could do like a Sunday brunch.
Is it veggieconnection.com or vegetariandatingonline.com?
Vegetariandating.com. I think it's one company owns them all because they give you advertisements trying to get you to join the other vegetarian ones.
Now, is this purely because
I'm desperate? Yes.
Well, is it because it's such a pain having to eat food, and that's such an integral part of dating, especially in the beginning, is eating a meal and everything? Is that why? So it's like, let me skip the whole conversation of, well, you see, I can't really eat here, here, and here, and that skips a lot of
most of the women I date, they're more comfortable at McDonald's. Well, you can get some good ground up bull at McDonald's.
Right. That's funny. You're not a fan of McDonald's, I'm assuming.
Well, I like the Playland.
Well, don't be hanging out in there. People assume something.
I've been arrested multiple times. Well, I didn't know it was mandatory to take your shoes off.
Oh, okay. I thought it was for something else. I'm like, wait, hey, don't say that. I got the pictures up. There's so many. You got videos. Are any of these decent?
You mean nude? Yeah, some are nude. Yeah.
These are all Hawaii.
Yeah. Hello, mahala hili ho.
Here's a great example.
Yeah, so we spent a week in Oahu, then a week in Maui, and while we were in Maui, we went over to Larry Ellison's place. You know Larry Ellison?
I do not. Who is
Started a little company called Oracle.
Oh, yeah, okay, big money.
Yeah. Well, he owns this island off of Maui. He owns 97% of the island. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's like Lanai. Yeah, that's the ticket. It's Lanai. He owns 97% of Lanai. Actually, Lanai is where Bill Gates got married. He and Melinda Gates got married on Lanai. They rented every single hotel room on Lanai and rented every single tourist helicopter the day of the wedding.
I wonder
I think that's called controlling.
How do the locals feel about that? Because they're getting really like commercialized and bought out.
Actually, they like Larry Ellison because
do?
he owns 97% of the island, but he's pretty good. They don't intermingle with him because he has security around him.
Oh,
but he hasn't hurt them in any way. If anything, he's made the island more interesting.
I've never been to Hawaii, so I can't say much.
I have pictures of Larry's island there about do not trespass beyond this line, or tigers will eat you up, something like that.
And did you trespass?
Well, I took a picture of both sides of the sign.
Yeah, I'm having a little...
Yeah, well, this is called dead air. Too bad we don't have like a streaming device or something,
No, it's... I don't want to explain the technicals behind it, but we don't have it set up. But here's vegetarian dating online if anyone's interested. I have that available.
Yeah, I should join that. I'm interested.
There you go. This is
Actually, if I dated a vegetarian in Europe, that would be like half the distance.
There's like I've seen advertisements for like farmers meat and stuff. Is it farmers only?
I need a farmer's wife.
You would, wouldn't you? Is that your style?
Yeah.
A good old gal.
Yeah. I would be utter confused though.
Wow, here we go with the dad jokes. Oh, were you making a play on words?
Utter is a dad joke?
Yeah. Do you know what dad jokes are?
No.
It's just like a offhand way of saying like usually like puns are considered dad jokes.
Give me an example.
Not that I don't like dad jokes though. It's just an example of like
what's the best dad joke you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Just name one.
It's usually in a situation when people reference it where it's like a pun or a play on words where It's like something like that where you said utter confusion. You know, when you're just making like an offhand, it's not like usually a long form joke.
And that's a dad joke?
Yeah.
I thought it was an utter joke.
That is a dad joke that you just did again. Exactly. But I'm not averse to dad jokes. I like them. Wow. It's just I'll teach you the internet slang.
Would you teach me about the birds and the bees, Bull?
Well, first, yeah.
Or is that a different species?
You have to first fly to Hawaii, 5,000 miles. But first, you have to talk.
I already did that.
When you meet a girl on vegetarianonline.com, you converse with her for about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Then you are to purchase a plane ticket halfway across the world.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Bruised, battered, beaten up in a wheelchair, preferable.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And the rest is history.
Well, I told her I was like a captive audience. I couldn't run away from her.
I wish I could pull those up, but yeah, they're pretty rough. And would you? Because I see some pictures here too where you were like at some.
That's
you're
a
like
botanical garden.
I saw you in like a meditation thing. Was that the light therapy you were talking about?
Yes. Well, she was working on her PhD, which is how this whole thing started. I was supposed to go to her graduation, which was October 7th. She didn't get her dissertation approved in time, which pushed everything back. So she did graduate last January instead of last October. And she had a subject drop out. They have to do this light test 3 different times, and then they take various readings. Well, her subject didn't come back for the 3rd time.
Wow. That's for her PhD?
Yeah, so old Gator jumped in.
And how long is the
session's like, I don't know, like a half hour.
Is that long enough to really go deep? Well, you're practiced.
I just do what I'm told.
You practice meditation a lot?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought you were really into that.
No.
I wish I was.
I should be.
I understand all the good benefits, and I've done it before, and it's great, but like the first step is just doing it consistently, which is...
Well, doing anything consistently is hard.
Yeah. But it's like, it just comes out every day, day after day, how many good benefits there are. Yeah,
I could see you meditating.
Really?
Yeah. You could do like the bull pose and meditate.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, you do yoga, which that's another thing. That I just need to work in my schedule, but I'm very interested, especially since I do Muay Thai. That really helps with stretching and flexibility.
Well, it's hard for like us Gators to do the lotus position because our legs are so short, you know?
Right.
You're Muay Thai, huh?
Yeah, you're Gatorkin.
How'd you get into Muay Thai?
I've just been interested. I watch...
See, that's not much of an answer, especially for a -- podcast. Just got interested? Yeah, that'll hold our attention.
Well, yeah, I've always been interested in it. It's always been like the fighters in the UFC.
Did they used to take your lunch money?
How are you going to ask my story and not let me tell it? But yes, to answer your question. No, I did Taekwondo when I was younger, and I haven't done it since I was like 10, but getting back into it, I still have all the kicks and flexibility with my legs, which is crazy because I literally haven't practiced it at all since I was like 10 years old. But it does stay with you. And there's a girl that just started last week, and she was throwing some kicks at me, and they were good kicks. And I was like, do you have any background before? She's probably like, I think she said she's like a senior in high school. She's like, no, I haven't done it since I was like 8 or 9. I used to do Taekwondo. I'm like, it sticks with you. You can tell because you see people like there's people that are really good with like, you know, boxing and stand up, and the second they try to throw the kick, it's like a foreign thing to them. If you don't have that, you know, like muscle memory, it's weird. And not just like your typical like front kick, because Taekwondo, honestly, after being a kid, I think it's a great base. But after being a kid, it's not very practical. You know, you're doing stuff like this where it's like, you know, it's not actually very practical in sense of like combat. But I think it is a good base, especially for like learning kicks and, yeah, just a general idea.
I see.
Yeah. Muay Thai is crazy, though. I mean, even though I'm doing Muay Thai here in the United States, it's nowhere. It's not even a fraction of like how badass actual Muay Thai is that they do in Thailand. I mean, it's some serious.
So after you get involved in a serious Muay Thai match, would your body look like my legs from the scooter?
Oh yeah, man. Which is weird because I don't bruise at all. I finally got.
Yeah, me either.
I got a bruise recently, and I was like, yes, I was so happy. And that's because I was getting kicked so hard over and over in the same spot that it finally bruised me. For some reason, I just do not bruise. I don't know why.
Wow.
But yeah, I get kicked hard. Kicks hurt so bad. I mean, I accidentally, because I never want to be the guy that's trying to like go too hard, like be, that kind of person. But, sometimes they do it accidentally with your legs because it's just like, you don't even realize how powerful they really are.
Well, we've got time left in this podcast. I suggest all you listeners out there, come on over, start giving kicks to Bull.
Right.
You can line up 1 kick per shot, and then you can get back in line and do a second shot, and we'll just see how long it takes him to bruise.
Yeah, we can do that.
So come on down.
It is weird how you get used to it, too. Like, I wonder what that is. I mean, it might be some kind of buildup, but I don't know if you just get used to the pain, but it's like...
Well, the more you get kicked, the more you get that alligator skin built up,
Not right, that joke.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I don't know. It's good. It's challenging. That's been a great decision I made, and it's addicting too. You go to a couple and you're hooked.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many times a week do you work out?
I do Muay Thai twice a week. I don't necessarily work out. I'm not a big
all right.
lifter or anything. I have to be very engaged if it's going to be, quote, working out. Like, I don't like to just sit there and like lift weights. I'm not that's like almost a meditative form of working out where you're just like solo, casual. I like to be tricked into working out. Like, I like games and competition, basketball, stuff where I can like, it's not working out at all. I don't consider it working out. It's fun. It's very challenging, but a lot of that's like mental challenging and learning.
Wow.
I'm not trying to just see.
I'm excited.
It's fun stuff, man. Mm-hmm. You do some martial arts, don't you?
Nah, nowadays I just do Tai Chi and yoga. I haven't done martial arts. I did Kung Fu and Taekwondo. Yeah, and you're right. As long as you're exercising, why not have a point to it, a light at the end of the tunnel, just so that light isn't not attached to a freight train coming right at you.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of lights at the end of tunnels that were attached to freight trains.
Don't go into the light.
Yes.
But you're right. Martial arts are very practical. That's partially why it's so addicting, because even with basketball and a lot of that, almost everything but martial arts, it's like, it's not very practical. Lifting is in a sense where you can actually lift heavier things and, get better posture, but a lot of it's not practical after a certain extent. But it makes sense. It feels like self-improvement when you're doing martial arts for sure.
I see.
Yeah. I'm a big fan.
So what's the wildest and craziest date you've ever been on?
I don't have one. Why does this turn into interview on me?
Because your life is so much more interesting than mine.
This is setting the tone for future episodes. I'm not the instigatee.
Oh.
I'm just the producer.
A few interesting gates.
I should have said I don't speak English. Yeah, tell me another one. Yours is way more interesting. I've never gone to vegetarian dating or farmers.
Actually, I fell in love in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Her name was Ana Castro.
Oh, was she?
She got a job. No, I asked her. Well, maybe distant,
I'm sure she hasn't heard that 1,000 times.
No, it was more like 1 million.
Yeah.
So she got a job as the Argentine social director at the Argentine embassy in Cairo, as in Egypt. Wow. So I went to visit her there. We went to Giza, which is, I don't know, about 20 minutes or so outside of Cairo, and visited the Sphinx, the Great Pyramid, and a couple of others. That evening, they were doing a laser light show on the Sphinx. She had a party she had to host that evening that I was not invited to. They probably were just going to talk Spanish and Arabic anyway. You know how it is in those foreign countries.
Right.
So I was staying at the Marriott in the little island in the middle of the Nile, and I took a taxi cab from the Marriott when it was starting to get dark, ready for the laser show, to Giza. And we had just been there a few hours before, and the pyramids are kind of big, so you can see them. So we're looking at the pyramids, and we're going down this road, and they're about 12 o'clock right in front, and all of a sudden the taxi cab driver takes a left. Then he takes another right, and he goes down this alley, and I can still see the pyramids looming in the distance. But we're not going straight for them anymore. And I thought that things were not going well. Also, a few months before, they had the Richard Pearl incident. He was those of you who don't remember, he was a reporter for the New York Times, and they actually beheaded him on video, if you remember that incident. Well, that was a few months before Richard Pearl.
Was this a few years ago?
No. This happened to me in 1992.
Oh, okay.
So it would have happened to Richard Pearl probably around 1990.
In Egypt they beheaded him?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was in the Middle East someplace. I don't believe it was Egypt. Egypt is more into tourism, so they don't have oil like other Arab countries, so their big deal is the pyramids, and it's rather disorganized, but they're trying. So anyway, we're going down this alley, and the pyramids are over there, and we're about 3 o'clock, and the pyramids are about 12 o'clock, and I thought it was time for me to leave. I'm in this small little taxi on the same side as the taxi driver, the left side. I scooted over to the right side, and I went like this with my hands, and I'm trying to find the door handle, and I thought I would leave. And my goal was to roll out without getting run over by the rear right tire, because there isn't any point if I was going to get run over. I'm not exactly escaping with the tire mark down my body. So I would have had to land decent and hit the ground literally running, and even then. So that was my goal. So I've got my hand on the handle. I'm ready to leave. And of course, this is a little 4-cylinder car. He felt the weight shift. He's looking in the rearview mirror. He sees me sliding over. Then he stops. Well, I didn't have anything to say to him. He had something to say to me, though. It's like I'm reliving it now. I hadn't thought about this in many a year. He turned around, put his right arm over the right side of the seat he was in, looked deep into my eyes, and said, "We're almost to the laser show. This is my friend's manger. Would you like to go the rest of the way on donkey like Jesus rode?"
What?
That is not what I expected to hear. I was about to skin up my body from head to foot, maybe get run over by the rear right wheel. And then after all this guy's probably still expecting a tip.
Right. Wow.
So I declined in my most eloquent way. Like, no, I wouldn't care to ride a donkey the rest of the way. Thank you, my good man.
You didn't take him up on that?
So he drove me the rest of the way. It was a splendid light show. We drank Egyptian beer as we watched this light show. He waited to drive me back. I guess he didn't have anything better to do.
Or like that American money.
He drove me back to the Marriott. And all in all, it was an interesting evening, aside from the part where I thought I was going to be beheaded.
Right. At least I had a happy ending.
No, I told you he did not behead me.
That's crazy. Yeah, I could see the being, nervous about that. Crazy stuff.
So what was the closest you ever came to being beheaded?
I haven't even been out of the country.
Oh, you can be beheaded in this country.
That's true.
I don't happen to know of anybody, but you could be a first.
Motorcycle riders. That's happened a bunch.
Oops.
Yeah. You're the one that's got all the crazy stories. A world traveler. I didn't get did you finish the Argentine?
Oh, yeah. Well, that was that was why I was there.
Oh.
And then, we fell madly in love and ended up in Maui. No.
Oh.
We've, actually haven't seen her since. We did go to Kuwait. She knew an Argentine photojournalist, Gustavo, in Kuwait City. And we flew from Cairo to Kuwait and visited that place. Kuwait is one of those countries that does not allow tourism.
Mm.
And whoever signs for you, vulges for you, are responsible as if they committed the same crime if you were to have committed a crime. Like if I were to have murdered somebody while I was in Kuwait, whoever hosted me would be guilty of the exact same crime.
Wow. That's a big responsibility.
Yeah, that's incentive for strangers not to sponsor strangers.
Right.
Although that is what happened.
Who vouched for you?
Well, the Argentinian photojournalist, he wasn't a citizen of Kuwait, so he got somebody in his office who signed off for Anna and myself. Anna is Argentine citizen, and of course, I'm not a Kuwaiti citizen.
Right.
So he signed off for us, never met the guy, never even thanked him.
Wow.
I think it's a fairly common thing to do, and nobody in their right mind commits crimes in these countries.
Right.
They know the penalties, and plus they just don't have that mindset. I mean, you go to New York City, and your money or your life type of thing, not there.
Yeah,
it is an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, and it's probably as safe as a casino in Vegas, unless you try to cheat the house, then those casinos aren't real safe for you.
Right. What were you doing while you were there?
In Egypt?
Yeah.
Having sex with Anna Castro, mostly. That was my sole reason for going there.
What about Kuwait, though?
Well, I wanted to see Kuwait. It was a year after the war.
Oh, geez.
And I was thinking of shipping them products. I had a factory that manufactures van conversions.
Oh, is
so I was going to
business?
start shipping them there, and she introduced me, and she wanted to go too. So
you're funding the rebels. You're building their trucks.
Well, yeah, I tried to get hooked up with someone, as a spy, but nobody wanted to hire me. So
right,
I'm just an unemployed spy.
Were you creating little compartments in your truck parts for them to hide stuff in?
Well, I could have, but, since I never sold any, we never got to that point. But, yeah, we could have done safe houses inside these van conversions. Yeah, that's the ticket.
The price
a safe
is right.
house, like for cockroaches, things like that.
Right.
Yes. Well, it's been fun chatting with you, Bull.
Yeah.
Too bad you don't have any stories of your own.
I'm a boring man, but I know.
Well, it rhymes with bull, though. Be boring, be bull.
I think that's alliteration.
Oh, you sure do talk good.
That's about
Y'all
it.
ain't from around here, are you, Bull? What meadow are you from?
I'm counting on your personality and stories to drive this. Well, and obviously our guest too, but
we're going to have guests? I just thought the show was going to be centered around me forever and ever.
It will be. I'll be the boring producer that does the computer typing.
Well, you got those B words going for you.
Yeah. And
Shazam.
That's probably why the nickname's Bull.
Bull.
Because that's what I'm full of. But yeah, I'm glad we did our first one. We got some good guests coming up. Some guests with really interesting stories. Hopefully we can pull out the more... I don't want to say secretive, but, the more...
I'm still trying to figure out how Mike Nolan averted us from World War III. That'll be a good story.
No spoilers. Spoiler alert. That'll be good.
Well, I can't spoil it. He hasn't told the story yet.
Right. Well, she's got plenty, so some of these guys can be reoccurring.
Yeah, he's averted us from World War III probably many times.
Yeah, we know some interesting people, so if we can get them talking, that'll be great. For right now, though, of course, we're going to be on all audio platforms, including iTunes and Google, Twitch. I'm going to upload to YouTube. I don't know about live streaming, but Twitch, we're definitely live streaming on there if you want to check us out.
And, of course, we'll be taking live phone calls, too.
Oh, yeah. We got some segments planned.
If you have questions for our guests. Sometimes they can't answer all the questions. It may be classified, but we may be able to coax them into breaking the ceiling of classification.
That's what's great about Twitch. People can just chat in and do that too. I'll man the boards, man the computer.
Excellent.
I noticed I play clips behind Gator over his right shoulder, but for some reason it cut out. I don't know if I ran it too long or what, but it cut out and it was playing like a Lexus commercial. So I put it back on.
Well, Lexus needs commercials too. I mean, it's a fine car.
Yeah, it's all right. We're not advertising for them though. They got to pay us. For now though, too, if you want to email us with any questions, comments, anything like that, email us at instagatorshow@gmail.com. And
what was that again? Can you repeat that for me, Bull?
Instagatorshow@gmail.com.
One more time, so I really have it set.
Instagatorshow@gmail.com.
All right, I think I got it. Instagators
@gmail.
Yeah.
.com. And we'll be on all the platforms. We'll be getting that out. Thank you for listening, and Gator to many more episodes.
Toodaloo.